Okay, let's see. Let's say hello, hello. We'll give it some time. Kat, hopefully you come on here soon. Am I live? Oh, see, Ryan, there you are. I see you. I'm glad you found it. That's exciting. I'm just waiting for my co-host here to see if she hops on. So, let me see. Okay, well, let me see where she is. I'm so excited to be able to be here right now with you all, and I'm also very excited to be able to share and begin this new series. If you know anything about me, you know I'm passionate about being authentic and sharing our raw experiences. So one of those raw experiences is technical difficulties. Let me see. I'm not sure why it's not starting. So, oh, there she goes. All right. Okay. All right. So, we are live.
Hi.
Yay! We are here and let's see, we're 3 minutes into it. So we're good. We're so,
It's all good. It's all good.
yeah.
It is all good. Yes.
How are you?
How I am I feel like I've been waiting for this my whole life. I feel like I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. How are you?
Yeah, I definitely feel I feel very blessed and very excited to be able to, share this space and actually come together in collaboration with someone who is as passionate about the whole process of, dare I call it the healing journey or the unbecoming journey, and just how
Yes.
effortless this came together. It, it feels so magical, doesn't it?
Yeah. I feel like the universe was like, here, you want the same thing and you want the same thing, meet. And it just happened very, very effortlessly, and it's really beautiful. So very excited.
Yeah, I agree. It's very effortless. And I feel, one of those concepts that we hear all the time in the community, in this space is, following your highest passion. And what does that look like? And do the path of less resistance, or what comes to you easily, and I think for me, what I've learned is that it actually takes so much of the unbecoming for me to get out of my own way in order to receive the messages, the guidances, and the synchronistic moments, however you perceive to see that, to bring us to this exact space. So it's like all of that, all all of the years of, yeah, unbecoming healing allowed us to be in the space to be able to collaborate and build community.
Yes. Yes, totally. Because I honestly and full-heartedly can say that even though 5 years ago I would have envisioned this being part of my life, there was a lot of things that needed to take place before this.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy happy, very happy for both of us that we've gone so deep on the inner journey, the inner healing journey to be able to arrive at this place because the truth is that we never know, right? It's a risk. You never know when you begin the healing process where it's going to lead you to. It's a risk, it's the unknown, right? And taking that leap, and those huge, it's leap after leap after leap, following layer by layer by layer, getting down to the real you that allows us to be able to keep going. And so I think that we've both done that. We've both done the inner work to be able to be here. It's not just something that anyone can arrive at without going through the process.
Yes. And um, and even where we're at currently, I mean, there would continuously be the unpacking of stuff, like,
Yeah.
which is just also a beautiful thing. But I feel like you come to this space where we're able to actually navigate that in a more neutral versus reactive space.
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
and for me, it's a little bit, um, so so I guess I'm just gonna like segue into my personal journey and what brought me to this point and why I'm so passionate about also sharing those experiences that people don't necessarily talk about or the whole process, if that's okay with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love
Okay,
to. Yeah, let's do it.
let's do it. All right. So, for me, in part of my healing path, I recognize that getting out of the shame of the experiences and voicing out some of those things that I was very afraid to confront was very healing for me. And that a lot of the barriers that we put it between each other were put up by the false narratives that were there. And so being very open and vulnerable, and I understand not everybody is like this, was a very important piece on my healing journey. I wanted to create a space where I could collaborate with people who were really, about, embracing the mess, because that's what I needed to learn to do, and embracing those pieces about us that people don't
Mhm.
talk about. So for me, those spaces were, I'm someone who has lived experience with childhood trauma. I'm also someone who has experienced multiple addictions, and in and out of treatment facilities, a lot of mental health holds. Those stories kept me in a space of these patterns and these behaviors. And
Yeah.
it wasn't until I began to rewrite the narrative of those where I was able to find my strength. So with all of, like, even the addictions, with so much abuse and like toxic relationships, they were all basically, it was all byproducts of other things. My choices became in those cycles were because of core wounds. And so what my unbecoming journey has been, so through multiple layers of I don't know. For me, it were so many different things. So I started, a treatment facility, but also I saw therapists, and I saw so many different things where I was in and out and in and out and in and out. But like it never lasted, right?
Yeah.
Like I needed to go beyond that and learn to love me and learn to be in fear commitment to the process of Elaine. And it was messy, and I kind of had this like awakening, if you will, in 2017, where I began to see that it didn't even begin with me. It was like passed down through generations, and my body, like, then I became really in tune with my body and like how all of the trauma and unhealed wounds affected the way that I was in the world. And it just became this process of going against the grain of what society has taught us. And I mean, a lot of times I felt I was in the wrong. A lot of times I felt like I couldn't do things right because it's so not what society has taught us. And so, while I had kind of just narrowed it down into this neat little package for this conversation, it's so it's I really I really have compassion for all of those players that had in my past brought me to a space of learning to love myself. So basically, those people who I once blamed, I have compassion for. And I
Yeah.
also understand the compassion for myself. And I think that's really where it started, is because the compassion for myself, then I was able to lend that to others. And um, so anyways, be able to embrace the process and whatever that looks like. So going from those deep to top it. So I've been able to experience the depths of like those darkest places, but I've experienced also the height of the most loving, kind areas, like light of my life, like bliss. I've experienced bliss with no drugs or mood altering substances because I've been able
Mhm.
to meet myself in those spaces, and
Yeah.
that's kind of where I want to show what's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so beautiful. I relate to a lot of the things that you've shared, which I just think is another reason why it's so cool that we have been two strangers online who have met and collaborated and have come together in this space to share not only our journeys individually, but how we both want to help other people heal holistically and also to be here to say, like, it's possible. That's such a it's such an inspiring thing to be able to say, like, "Look, n no, you don't understand. We've been there. We've been in the dark nights of the soul for a long time," right? I know for myself, I mean, it was like, it was a deep process. At one point, it got very dark.
Yeah.
And to be able to be where yeah, I'm sure that you've felt the same thing. And to be able to be where we are now and to look back and understand what that looked like also, the darkness of it, and to be able to now shine in the light from everything that we've gone through and to be here together to talk about it and share with other people who are maybe afraid to step into the process. I've heard many,
Mm-hmm.
many reasons of fear of people holding back from stepping into this journey, the unknown. It's scary. Yeah, it's scary,
Mm-hmm.
but there was something within you and I that existed individually that we still with the fear. So I just want to really emphasize that it is possible to go through the depths of hell and come out on the other side and stand here and be able to just be in such joy with a complete stranger that was completely unexpected. I mean, if you really, it's just truly magical. So,
It is like I get emotional thinking about it because it is. It's like, when we think of all of the threads, each choice, each individual choice, and everything that has happened has all conspired to bring us to this space that we both feel is like our, my life's work. Like I could
yeah,
literally, it's,
definitely.
it's very powerful. It's very powerful. And, I don't know if you're like me, but like, yeah, and uh, so from experiencing such the depths of hell, like even at a young age, like I was very tormented as a child, and my first mental health hold was when I was 14. So however, I have always been pulled by the thought and the feeling that there was a purpose behind the pain. Like, I don't know what it was, or if you were drawn by that, or pulled to that. Like, I felt that someday I would be able to use those pains to bring purpose, and I feel that purpose or that sensation of feeling like, okay, a meaning behind it, I guess I assigned a meaning to it, but that is what had brought me through a lot of those times. Did you experience that as a child as well?
Yeah, I definitely related to a lot of things that you just said. And I think for me, it was like I was so tormented emotionally and mentally
Hmm.
at one point that I was like very driven by desperation.
Ooh,
And I tell people oftentimes that that's okay. That is
yeah,
completely okay because it takes a lot for people to change.
yeah.
And I tell share people with people with this too, that the two biggest factors of change are driven by inspiration and desperation. And so either one is completely okay. It doesn't really matter on which end of the spectrum you're on, but I was desperate. I was like, there has to be another realm of an experience of reality. This can't be it.
Mm,
This cannot, this feeling, this existence, this depth of hell cannot be what life is. There has to be something beyond this. And so that's what drove me for a long time until I started peeling back the layers and integrating the shadow and understanding how to truly love myself
mm.
and show up comfortably in my skin no matter what I'm doing, no matter who I'm around, and not be afraid of stepping into an unknown experience with people that I don't trust because I've learned to deeply trust myself and that fear is just no longer there.
Yes, yes. It's fascinating. I've often said that those are the moments of gift of I've called them gifts of desperation. And I know people would be like, why is desperation a gift? Well, that allowed me to be
It
able to be
is.
willing to be malleable in order to change, to do something
Yes.
different. So that
Yes.
is a gift. Yeah. So
Yes.
um, yeah, but it's really, and I think, and that's what I foresee, this series bringing it is that us being able to be like, yo, from from desperation brings inspiration as well, like don't fight it. It's okay. It's okay because
Yeah.
and um I question like, so what I feel like we want to bring to this series, like what this series is intended for, right? Is showing up in those spaces that are just going beyond self help, healing, healers or what have you, what they say, what the trend is, going beyond that. How did you, and I'm curious because can't even answer specifically for myself, how did you learn that a lot of the stuff that we were being fed through the mainstream were kind of like not, they weren't necessarily it? um, yeah, I'm curious what your answer is to that question.
Yeah, this is a great conversation too. And I'm curious from you what the messages from the mainstream were
Yeah.
exactly regarding how to heal because I was so blind to everything else. I like literally shut down the world and isolated myself and was in the space of like I will do whatever it takes. It doesn't I don't care. You don't I spent all of my money on every modality, the
It's
supplement,
like,
session, coach, healer, Reiki, acupuncture, therapist. I mean, I medication. Like I've tried so many things, and each one that I tried, it was kind of like ruling out, like, this isn't it. Moving on to the next one. And I just wanted to keep trying things because I knew deep down inside there was something else. And I'm like, there is another existence possible because I've seen it. I had seen the people that I admired and looked up to at that point, what their lives looked like, what their lives, you can feel it. It's a
yeah.
felt experience that this reality that we were once searching for. And so to I everything else out. And I was just like, I don't care what it takes. I'm gonna do everything until I find what it is that gets me to where I want to be.
Mhm.
In the beginning, long, long time ago, decades ago, I had wanted to help people, but there was a very strong turning point in my journey where it was very obvious that, like, no, you have to heal your trauma first.
Yeah.
You heal your trauma. Don't try to help other people from a traumatic state of being. You heal yours first, and then that will be the next step, right? But I knew that I had to take care of my own stuff first.
Mhm. Hmm. I love that you said it was like a feeling, or I just like it. To me, it was also an experiential, experience. It wasn't just one thing. So some of the messages that I received, I mean, I literally questioned everything growing up, and so naturally, even coming into the space of self-help or like whatever the awakening process was. I don't know why I cringe at that so much, but I began hearing things that I would cringe. I'd be like, ooh, that just doesn't feel right. Like, what are you talking about? Like, such as like positive vibes only, right? Like, so
Yeah.
we see that everywhere now. Or
Okay,
think
okay, yeah. Yeah.
think positively, some of those things. Focus on the light. So basically, just completely bypassing one side of the whole experience until I recognize that really, as a society, we are so hell bent on not experiencing pain, right? Like
Yeah.
everything we do is to feel good. And that did not sit well with me. And I was like, because that is not the human experience. How am I going to shut
Yeah.
out half of the human experience? So it was, I got rid of honestly a lot of the mainstream authors. Like I'm a huge reader and like I read for years straight. So a lot of the mainstream, like Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra, Brene Brown was like an introductory to that space, but I'm not, and that again, I'm not saying no to them. It was just I needed to go beyond that at that point. They were access points. So there was just a time where I was like, I would read things, I would hear things, I would be around people, and it would just feel not right. So I don't have like that answer. Again, it's just a feeling. But I feel
Yeah.
because I also removed everything from my life, right? Like everything that once felt like a safe space, friends, family, online stuff, my work, it all was so painful. Like to even fake being in those spaces. So
Yeah.
I became this hermit and I could really lean into my body and lean into like how my body was responding to each interaction that I was having. So it was just really fascinating because you know, yes, so much of we're constantly consuming things and we aren't even aware of it,
Yeah.
and it wasn't until I stopped the consuming that I was
Yes.
able to like really lean into Elaine and learn more about her and what sets my heart on fire,
Yeah.
like the card
Yes.
that I pulled earlier.
Ah, I know, I love that. So fun.
Yeah.
So fun.
So um so yeah, I feel like that to me, like what this space is intended for is to explore those avenues, to explore those spaces, to move beyond just the what we're told.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of people that are operating from fear-based belief systems,
Hmm.
and I used to, so I get
Hmm.
it. I fully understand. My life used to be consumed by fear. I was afraid of it. There was one point I was afraid to leave my apartment. I'm gonna go outside
Hmm.
and people are gonna judge me. It's scary when you are so raw and vulnerable
Yeah.
before all of the things have come out and you become who you're meant to be. But that's why it's so important, and I tell people this all the time, to have the right guidance support system for yourself, because this isn't a journey that is not, or that's meant to be alone. Connection is healing,
Hmm.
and and it continues to be, and that's the truth.
I think too that yeah, I definitely believe connection is healing. I also believe though I couldn't be connected to others until I learned how to connect to myself.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, it's
I
so
mean
true. Yeah.
it's it's such a consistent, oscillation between, okay, I can meet you to the exact space that I've only been able to meet myself, right? I'm only able to have this intimate conversation with you or with anybody in my life because I've been able to do
Yes.
that digging, and so the connecting point really related to and was solely reliant on how deeply I met myself.
Yeah. So true. So true.
So I would love to hear, what do you, how do you see, and how do you want people to feel after, like, like coming to each episode, and like how are we going to bring this, and what are we going to do for people? I mean, if I was going to put it in any terms, there we go.
Hi, Angela. So,
Was that your friend? Oh,
yes.
oh, yay. Hi, Angela. I'm so so happy. Thank you so much, Angela, for volunteering. Yay.
Um, what was the question? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I there's a lot of those. That's okay. So my intention is to help people be comfortable in being in a space and hearing from people that have gone through it, that are here to talk about the real, the raw, the vulnerable, the dark, the scary, the things that maybe they're not aware of, they're not used to. Yeah, I feel like we're on the same page. Just every single conversation that we've had is just like we're on the same page, and it just keeps aligning that we're just going to put our real raw hearts out there and say, these were our experiences. This is what we were afraid of. This is where we are now. And this was our journey. And sharing that will help inspire other people to step into those unknown spaces. Because on the other side of that is nothing but peace, freedom, and joy. And that's why we're here. That is why we're here to live in existence, is to, for one, make each other's lives easier. For two, to enjoy our time here. So,
I love it. Yes, I mean, it is, again, yeah, to echo, not you, to piggyback on what you said. Is yes, I too also I perceive that this would be a great series to help people. Well, for one, when people are like as authentic and real, as I feel that we are, that in itself is a huge light for people to be like, oh, they can own it all. They can own it all. They do that, and
mhm.
so I'm just always like so curious as to authentic people, and you know so with these conversations, and being able to be unfiltered about the healing process, I feel that that will allow people to feel safe to begin to, yeah, explore, to be able to explore different concepts, and to be able to know that they're not alone, and that they're not like crazy,
Yeah,
or whatever the labels are, and hopefully, because once we hear resonance within someone's like experience, that begins to like shift our perceptions, right? Like I knew once I could hear what people were saying, I was like, oh, that gives me the strength to also be able to begin to start a different path or a different journey. It's very, I just all of it is very fascinating to me.
Yeah, I think it's medicine. I think me and you being able to be open and sharing our stories in a vulnerable space live. I mean, this isn't scripted. This is really us. We're really here and we're really showing up just with our raw, open hearts and being like, this was the depths of hell and this is what's on the other side. And you can experience the other side anytime that you want to. It takes some work and a journey and a process. But if you're led by somebody that has been through it and that is leading with their heart, this is possible for you too. And so I just think that us just being here and showing up as we are is enough.
It
It's enough.
is. It is more than enough, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's so beautiful. Um, so I guess what I would ask for the audience we before I pull a card for the collective, which I'm so excited for. Um, I would love to hear. I mean, we have our own topics. Next episode we will figure out what we're going to be sharing about. Which I mean, gosh, the list. Um, but I would love to hear, anybody as questions, any type of, yeah, any questions or any topics to be discussed. Actually, someone,
Yeah.
we don't have to talk about it, but it's just interesting. Someone did say that they would like to talk about gut health and happiness. And I was like, ooh,
Oh, that's a good
yes, because
one.
I know that is a good one. So I have that on the list. But so, anyways, was there anything else that you wanted to say before I pull this card for the collective?
No, I'm just really excited to hear from the people because that's what we're here for.
We
So
are
I can't
here.
wait to hear what they want.
We are here for the people, no doubt. Okay, so I'll just pull a card for guidance, just for the week ahead, for the day, whatever anybody's experiencing. So.
Can't wait.
Okay, so loving all that is.
Wow.
Okay, I mean, so right off the bat, I'm like, of course, because that's what we're talking about, right? Like loving that whole process
Yeah.
of whatever arises. So let me read what this says, and then we will close out. So, loving all that is. You wise awakening being, you can love all that is. You can love your tears and your sadness, for they
Mhm.
are a testament to your open heart. You can love your numbers, your numbness, and fatigue, for they show that you have worked hard and are now in need of rest. You can love your energy and passion, even when you are so far ahead of the pack. You have to wait a
Yes.
while for everyone else to catch up, maybe a day, maybe a decade or so, because you choose not to curb your enthusiasm for anyone. You can love your anger because underneath its fire is a desire for respect, and you can love your peacefulness because within your heart, you really don't care much for fighting sometimes. If there is something that is shaming you, worrying you, challenging you, it's okay to just love it. It will make sense when it needs to. Until then, just love it, even when it hurts, for it's the part of our own divine nature awakening. It may just be painful cramp happening because it's been curled up for too long. This oracle brings you a
Yeah.
sweet message. You are just asked to love. Everything else will take care of itself. A state of being, allowing, receiving, becoming one with all that is.
Wow. That's that's amazing. Who's Ryan? Thank you for all the love.
Oh,
Um,
really?
that
Yeah.
is that's I mean, you couldn't have planned that. And so just like everything that we have, when did we meet? Do you remember? Do you remember when did you first message me?
I don't, it was before the holidays, but our
It
first like
was.
conversation was last week.
That is, I mean, it's like I feel like I've known you and your soul for hundreds of years. Like I just
We,
to
we
be
go
able
back.
to, yeah. right?
Yeah.
And it's not the human, right? It's not the
Mhm.
human part. It's on a soul level. And so I think that that is so beautiful. That's what we're sharing with people. And that card just like again perfectly aligned with our entire message and purpose here. So I love it. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that.
Yes, thank you for allowing that space. So, all right. Well, I look forward to next week. And yes, sending so much love. And next week, Thursday at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Awesome.
Thank you,
All right.
everybody.